Trusting your intuition will lead you to create a passionate and joy-filled life. Are you ready to get turned on to a new way of thinking? Are you ready to meet people who have conversations that speak to the things that truly light you up? What if you had access to a podcast that featured women just like you, who shared stories that empowered you to let go of a life tied to others' expectations and to start living in the now with passion and joy? I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, founder of Your Intuitive Light Coaching, owner of Enlightened Styles Holistic Salon, and your host of the Intuitive Light podcast for the enlightened entrepreneur. My goal is to help women recognize how tightly they are tied to negative thoughts and other people's expectations, so that they can fully embrace and become the untethered CEO they've always wanted to be. You're about to meet some amazing women who will inspire you to untether yourself from any fears, negativity that you carry, and become the untethered CEO of your life. This podcast is for you, woman, champion, warrior, entrepreneur, mother, phenomenon. Hello, and welcome back to the Intuitive Light podcast and show. I'm your hostess, Jacqueline Rodriguez, and I have an amazing entrepreneur that is on here with us today, and her name is, we're going to bring up all her info, Kelsey Abbott. And she is an intuitive human design reader, a certified professional coach, Instigator of Joy, and the host of Find Your Awesome podcast. So we can see she has many talents, and I am actually getting to know her for the first time today as well. So we're going to just have some real great conversation and talk deeper about all the amazing things she's got going on. So without further ado, hello, Kelsey. Oh, let's bring you up.
There I am.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome
so
to the
fun.
show.
Thank you so much.
Of course. I love having the podcast because I have been able to meet some amazing women throughout this journey. And one of the things I love doing, I think I was telling you this before, is I love talking to women and finding out all of the things that they're doing, because we're supposed to be here to support each other and lift each other up. So that's a part of this podcast. So I am dying to know. Tell me all about you and how you got into this, because I love the human design aspect. I've had it done a few times, and it's very, very interesting to me.
So what's your type?
I knew you were going to ask me, and now I can't remember.
All right, we'll go over the different types, and you'll remember.
Okay.
That'll jog your memory.
I want to say I am a manifesting generator.
That's what I am.
I'm almost positive. It's either manifestor or manifesting generator. And if Christina is listening to this, she's going to be like, Jacqueline, you should know this, because she did mine. And we've been friends, and she's been on the show a few times. So yes, let's dive in. How did you get into all of this? Tell me a little bit about you.
So let's see where to begin. Let's begin with just a quick snippet about manifesting generators. We're here to bounce. We're the multi-hyphenated people. And so now that you know that, I'm going to tell you my short-ish background. Starting from I studied psychology and biology in college, then went on to study marine mammals and got my master's in marine mammals and marine mammal conservation. I studied killer whales. And then so I worked for the federal government for a while. Then I got offered a huge promotion, and I said, no, thanks. And I got out of there. And then I became a science writer, where I wrote about new scientific research, and I made it fun and funny and accessible. I just loved the way people would light up as they learned something about science. And on the side, I grew up as a swimmer. And on the side, I was always coaching swimming. So I was still coaching swimming throughout that time, and I fell into personal training and teaching group fitness, and then started coaching triathletes. And I'm still science writing this whole time. And then I learned about life coaching. It was through a Facebook post. Someone was saying that she just has to do a few more client calls to finish her certification. And I reached out to her right away and I was like, where are you? Like, I didn't even know that life coaching was a real thing. And I was like, where are you learning this? Tell me more. Talked to her, I think the next day. And the day after that, I was enrolled in IPEC, which is where I went to coaching school. So I became a certified coach in 2014, I believe. And then I started the Find Your Awesome podcast in 2017. In between, like, my focus was really on helping people remember who they are, helping them like step into their power, know that they're worthy, clear out all their inner critic stuff, and learn how to just like all the mindset stuff. So then started my podcast, and somewhere along the way, I honestly can't remember when, somebody said to me during an interview, have you ever heard of human design? And I was like, no. And it's like where my head went was like, what is this? Like, I was so skeptical, which is funny because I'm open to everything. But this term human design, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Where's this going?
So, of course, I Googled and found out all I needed to find out my human design was my birthday and time and place. And I knew that. So I put that in. Up comes this chart that I have no idea what to do with. And
it's a chart.
it's one of my friends says it's like alien speak. And I agree. It's a picture. It's like if you haven't seen a human design chart yet, it's like a profile of a human head wearing a tent. And then inside that tent and the head, there's a whole lot of different shapes in different colors. And then there were some stripes somewhere. And on the sides, there's a bunch of numbers and colors and symbols. Like, what are you supposed to do with this? And that's if you're lucky. If you get one with a mandala, it's all sorts of crazy all around it.
Yeah.
So anyway, eventually I learned I was a manifesting generator. And through the help of the internet, this was like weeks later, I found someone describing manifesting generators as warrior Buddhas. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting because that resonates deeply. And that was the breadcrumb I needed at that time. And then a couple months later, I met someone at a conference who was like, oh, if you're into human design, you must know this person, who of course I'd never heard of. But then I dove into everything she'd ever done and essentially created my own training, listened to every single podcast she'd ever been on, read everything. She put out a ton of content on Instagram, read all of that. And then as soon as she offered a training course, I was in. And now here I am. I'm a certified professional coach, and I use human design as a way to help people remember who they are. Because as I said, when I first started coaching, I was helping people remember who they are, but something was missing. And it's that blueprint that I can now point people at and say, like, stop trying to do it that way. That is not for you. You have a choice to get off the struggle bus. So your soul already chose a way for you to do it with ease and flow and joy and light and love and magic. Here it is. You just need to make the choice.
It is such a beautiful thing. And I think what's interesting is a lot of people don't realize that it is a choice, right? We see, what is the name of that? You know, everybody has those tests and they're like, okay, who are you? What is your type? What is this or whatever? And you get your type back and then you think that you're stuck to that. And you don't have to be. And what I loved about the human design is that there's so many, like you said, there's so many different ways. It's not just finding your type and then that's just who you are. It shows you so many different pieces and how to make your life easier and how, which ways you're supposed to go through, right? And I don't know a ton about human design, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like that was the difference between your type, find out your type quizzes to this.
There are a couple differences. There are a few things I want to say. Like, first of all, human design is based on your birthday. Totally crazy, right? Like, how can it be so bang on? And so as I was learning human design, I did a ton of free readings for people because I had learned how to read my own chart and
Mhm.
was just in awe of how accurate it was. So then I start reading other people's charts, and everyone says the same thing. This is perfect. This gives me permission to be who I know I truly am. And that's the
Mhm.
point here. So the other assessments like Myers-Briggs, which Myers-Briggs is
The one. Yeah.
what it was a catalyst for me quitting my job for the federal government. It was
Oh.
me. Yeah, I learned Myers-Briggs. I bought myself a book, learned Myers-Briggs, learned I'm an ENFP on every single test I ever take, and love being an ENFP. And read about what's best for me, read about the other types. And I was sitting in a staff meeting once and I'm looking around and I was like, oh, they're made for this. They don't feel like they're trapped in cages. I do. I got to get out
Yeah.
of here. And then it was so
Yeah.
easy for me just to get out of there. The other thing I want to say is if in learning your human design, so human design, you've got your energy type, you've got your profile, you've got all the centers, all the gates, all the channels, you've got the variables, which are the arrows. There are so many layers to human design. And a lot of people just stop with the types. And I love that it's so accessible in that way. So
Mhm.
everyone can learn everything about the types. That information is, I try and put a bunch of it out for free. I've done a whole podcast episode on my podcast. I want people to understand that. And then when you want to go deeper than that, get a full reading because like I'm a manifesting generator. Maybe you're a manifesting generator. And I'm sure there are so many ways that we're the same and so many ways that we're different.
Yes. Yeah. I do remember my friend Christina Immerman, she was on the podcast. Like, it's been a few years now. She did run it and she did read it for me. Um, but what this is all bringing up again for me is to go back and take a look at it. So that's how I want to know, how do you work with that? Like, how do you take the information, read it, use it, but then how do you continue to use it throughout your business and to your advantage? Because
Mm.
I think that's where, I went not wrong, because nothing's wrong, but I didn't go down deeper and like continue to use that information.
Yeah. So human design, it's called the human design experiment. So we all get to experiment all day, every day with like, oh, how am I out of alignment? If you're a generator or a manifesting generator, when you feel frustrated, that means you're out of alignment with your energy type. So if you are a generator, that typically means what needs to go. Like, what are you saying yes to that's really a no? Let it go. That can be the same for manifesting generators as well. Also, manifesting generators, go play. Like if you feel
Mm,
frustrated, how could you play? And there are so many people, so many very qualified human design readers in the world right now. Human design's gotten big
yeah.
for everyone. If you learn something about your human design that makes you feel trapped, that makes you feel like there's anything that you can't do, please either ask that person to clarify, at least if it's me, please ask me to
Mhm.
clarify, or switch to a different person. Find a different source to learn from because there's a lot of old stuff. It feels really icky around human design, but the
Mhm.
truth of human design right now is it is here to light you up. You should learn when you learn your design, you should be like, oh, yes, I've been waiting for
Yeah.
this moment. This just finally gives me the freedom and permission to be me. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I had all of these gifts. This is incredible.
Yeah. And I do want to say I felt that. And it was a huge awakening when I read that. And just like, I mean, I do a lot of intuitive stuff. I do a lot of energy work and the Akashic records, and I have like frequency devices. I'm always in awe of how point on it is and how much, like, it's scary, kind of like, how just from my birthday, how do we know all of this? But oh, I don't know if you can hear my dogs. I apologize, everyone, but of course they, you know, somebody walked out of the door. So bringing these things on, it's amazing how accurate they are. And you're right, just like anything else that we're doing, if you're not connecting, because we're not all meant to work with each other. And it was funny because I had a Facebook Live this morning about that, like finding out. Hold that thought. I am going to mute myself. Okay, we're back. Hopefully the dogs don't bark anymore. I was doing a podcast or Facebook Live this morning about that we're not all meant to work with each other. So like finding the right person that will help you and show you the way that feels good to you, right? Especially, I mean, for anything, but with the human design, like it's all the same idea of finding the right person to work with.
I recorded an episode that for my podcast yesterday. It's going to air next week. And Amy White was the person I was talking to. And the quote she shared with me is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when the student is really ready, the teacher will disappear. I don't know about you, Jacqueline, but I've had that experience so many times of like, where,
yeah,
what, I wanted to work with you. I wanted to work with someone. What am I supposed to do? And that is the universe being like, go on. You got this. You got this all by yourself.
Yes. It's amazing that you go there, because we have all, and I preach it all the time, but we have all of the answers within us. Just like the design, it shows you, but this is who you actually are. You already have all the knowledge. But I guess streamlining it, and when we're in that learning phase, and then we're ready to go and just be the teacher and go out there and do the things that we're supposed to do, that it is funny how that manifests itself.
Yes. Now, to go back to your question about how we use human design, like once we learn our design and learn as much as we can about it, how do we use it in our businesses? How do we use it in everyday life? We are constantly, if we're tapped in, we're constantly pulled to explore various parts of our design. You know, I only have 2 open centers, my ajna and crown. That's like the mind and the head, or the top of the head. And I know very clearly, especially last year when I was in ajna school, when it felt like, so with an open ajna, I feel and amplify other people's mental energy. So like the cool side, yeah, I can hear your thoughts. The not so cool side, somebody else's belief goes in my head and I don't know what to do with it. And it just like swirls around. And the thing now I know, because I was in ajna school, that if it's true, it falls into my body. If it's not true, I just need to find somebody with a defined ajna, because they have trash cans in their ajna. And I just keep saying, will you throw this away for me? Will you throw this away for me? Because someone with a defined ajna just knows, like, well, that's not for you, or that's not true. Someone with an open ajna, it's like a tornado in here.
Wow. Okay. So many questions, because like I said, I don't know. And these terms, I'm in a lot of things, but these terms are totally new to me. And this is so fascinating. So explain Ajna school and what that means. And like, are there other things that we should be aware of?
We should be aware of everything.
I know. Yeah. Right. That was a loaded question.
So remember at the start of the pandemic when it was like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, social distance, no, don't social distance, wash your hands, no, wash everything that comes in your house. No, actually, it's just passed through the air. It was like all of this information, all of this conflicting information. People made some really funny videos about it. And I could laugh at it. And at the same time, I'm also hearing all of this stuff and it's going into my mind. It's going into my head. And those of us with open ajnas, so how do you know if you have an open ajna? When you look at your human design chart, which you can pull up, you can go get it for free on my site, and you'll
Which is going to
see,
be in the show notes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you'll see there are 2 triangles at the top of the head, and they
Mhm.
don't look like this because they don't have my face on them. But there's this bottom triangle that points down. That's your ajna. This one is the crown. So your ajna, if it's white, it's open. Any center, any of the shapes, if the shape is white, it's open. If it's colored and it doesn't matter the color, then it's defined.
Okay.
If it's defined, it means you have your own energy. If it's open, it means you feel and amplify other people's energy.
Oh, okay.
There's so many more nuances to it, but let's just dive into the ajna for a second.
Yeah.
So people with an open ajna, like I said, we feel and amplify other people's mental energy. So depending on the way your chart is laid out, you're probably a little bit psychic. And our natural state is like a wide open Montana sky. Like that's how we want our head to feel. People with a defined ajna, their natural state is a full library with this whole filing system. And people with defined ajnas that I know and love have a really hard time with names because they don't already have a file for that name or for that person. And so it's like names don't mean anything to them. I'm good with names. Those are fine. And there's room for that in my sky.
That's so interesting. I'm terrible with names. A face, I never forget. Names, though, I try. And my husband, it drives my husband crazy because first off, my memory is not the best. Like, I just lose a lot of stuff that, if it's not current and like right now, I forget a lot of things. And my husband basically is my memory. So when I'm asking, so he gets so frustrated. He's like, how do you not remember this? Or how do you not know, like, repeat their name? I'm like, I try. It just doesn't work for me. So I think I might have a defined ajna.
So people with defined ajnas are here to hone their perspective, to really hone their point of view. People with open ajnas, opinions flow through us. So if you have an open ajna, no, you can absolutely listen to something you don't agree with, read something you don't agree with, watch something you don't agree with, and it'll just be like, yeah, I don't agree with it. Someone with a defined ajna often can't handle listening to something they don't agree with.
I think I've learned that over the years. So I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if that I've just defined, or I have to do my chart now again because I have to look at it. But I think that over the years I've learned how to, and I can let a lot of stuff go. But that also came a lot with me being centered, really honing in on connecting with my higher self. A lot of things don't bother me like that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And sometimes people with a defined ajna, they really love to discuss things. From my perspective, that's from the perspective of an open ajna. It feels like people with a defined ajna, God, they say so many words sometimes. It's just exhausting. So I have learned now that I'm just like, I'm out. Like I can't handle just talking. For me, it just feels like we're just like beating this topic to death. I can't. I'm out. It starts making me really physically tired.
Yeah. That's so interesting. So with all of these, because obviously everybody's going to have to go and get their human design chart off your site and really take a look at theirs and get the reading, learn how to use this. But because a lot of entrepreneurs are on here, a lot of CEOs, where we're trying to hone in on how can we utilize these tools for our business? How do we manifest more? How do we get out there and put our business and get really clear? How would we use our design to do that?
So before I get into the energy types, there's one piece of your design that's you're either here to be strategic or you're not here to be strategic. And I think this is so important for us to know as business owners. you know, we hear all the time, you got to get super specific, have a very specific business plan. What's your strategy for this? And on the specificity, it's like, get super clear on your ideal client. What gender are they? What do they eat for breakfast? What are their hobbies? How many kids do they have? All of that. How much money do you want to make this week? All of that. That is amazing for you if you are here to be strategic and specific. If you are not here to be strategic and specific, doing those things is not only like not going to be true for you, it's going to block your flow. And I've felt it because I'm not here to be specific. And I tried to be specific because that's what everyone kept telling me. Kelsey, you need to be specific. So I tried it on and it was horrible. It was like I felt the brakes squeeze. It was, and I was like, I don't understand. It's just like I no longer have connected to anything. And then I realized
that's huge.
So big, so much permission.
Yeah. And I'm curious, like, how do you see that on the chart? Because I don't know if I am here to be specific or not. I feel like I'm not. And it's funny because I have like my course and everything is to allow you to like expand and not like break the traditional barriers of what everybody else tells you to do and really align with what you want to do in your business and obviously in your life. But I'm curious, how do you see that on your chart?
So on the chart, up by the head, there's going to be 4 arrows. Mm-hmm. And on the right side, no, I'm not going to use my hands because it's mirrored. On the right side, the bottom right arrow. If the bottom right arrow points to the left, like if it points towards the head, then you are here to be specific and strategic. If it points to the right, you are not here to be specific or strategic. So if it points to the left and I ask you where you want to be in a year, you will speak that into existence. If it points to the right and I ask you where you want to be in a year, you can tell me a beautiful story, but it doesn't mean anything to you and you probably won't remember it tomorrow. You're basically telling me what you think I want to hear.
Okay, so repeat that again. Like if you are specific, then you speak it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not, okay.
And if you're not, the universe knows so much better than you do. So if you are specific, then you get what you want. If you're not specific, the universe says, no, you do your thing. You be you. I'll take care of the results.
That's so interesting. So interesting. Because I've got to go back to mine.
So it's the bottom right arrow. If it points to the left, you're specific. If it points to the right, you're not specific.
Okay. All right. So everybody go get it. Go get it and get the reading so that you can see. Because this is super important for exactly what I'm telling people to do. Like, do what works best for you and break a lot of the barriers of what everybody else is telling you how to run your business, what to do. That for me, the way I found it was getting very, very clear on who I was.
Yes.
And aligning with me and doing what I wanted, even if everybody else thought I was crazy. Mm-hmm. So that's what I teach to. I haven't used the tool of the human design to see that. It took me a long time to get real quiet.
And that's the thing. Human design, you know everything that's in your chart because you were born knowing that. Your soul picked it out before you were born. On day 1, you know all of this stuff. On day 2, you start forgetting. So I'm assuming most people watching and listening right now are way past day 2. And so they've probably forgotten a lot. But there's still something in you that remembers. So when you get a human design reading, you're going to be like, yes, I knew it.
Yeah.
That's how it should feel.
That's awesome. And it's just such a nice reminder that we have these tools. Yeah. And it is who you are And there's always so many ways to change and to adapt that into your business. And there are tools that we get a chance to use to learn more about ourselves to help us grow. And
Yeah.
I want to preface that with, if it is something that like feels like it's holding you back, like you still get a choice to change and to tap into things that feel much better for you. Because that's one thing with some, like I was saying with the other tests, like people get so into their heads about, oh, okay, well, this is how I am, and then make up more excuses as to why they can't
Yes.
do this. Or I can't tell you how many times I, talk to people who they're like, yeah, I want to make extra money. I'd like to start a business, but I'm not salesy, or I'm not a talker, or I don't know how to market, or I don't know. Like, we have all of these, and there is a way that you can do it, no matter what you think. And those are all stories, by the way. They're, stories that you have created in your own head from a thought and an emotion, repeat it over and over again, that created that belief for you. We can break those, and we can start using tools like this to help us move out of our own way.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what this is. It can be like a big shove for you, a big friendly shove.
I love it. Big
Yeah,
friendly
I've heard
shove.
people even think like, oh, I have an open root. I'm not meant to move my body. Whoa. You have this gift of a human body. Yes, it's on loan. It's the only one you get for this life, though. So you might want to take really good care of it so it can last as long as possible.
A little bit.
Yeah, you're still human.
Yeah. So then tell us a little bit about the other energy types. Is it time to get into the energy types?
Yeah, I think it's time. All right.
Okay.
So there are 5 energy types.
Mm-hmm.
Generators, manifestors, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. Let's start from the back with reflectors. Reflectors are supposedly super rare, and yet I know a bunch of them. They are here to reflect our own energy back to us. Reflectors are just disco balls of awesomeness. They go ideally in the center of the tribe. And if you want to feel really good about yourself, have some one-on-one time with a reflector. And you're going to come away being like, oh, they're so brilliant. Oh my God, we're so aligned. Yeah, because they're just reflecting. They're like amplifying and reflecting your own wisdom and your own energy. You're going to feel really good about yourself. And at the same time, a reflector can be a great intuitive reader, because if you're blocking your own intuition, they're just going to, show it to you. Reflectors, they are so great at reflecting our own energy back to them. But what about them? Yeah. How do they know who they are? Reflectors need to be at peace with the fact that every moment is a brand new moment, and therefore they are a brand new person every moment. Every day is different for them. So for a reflector, when the reflector is making a really big decision, give yourself a whole month. Because reflectors are connected with the moon, and the moon is totally different every single day, right?
Yes, it is.
So see where that decision falls for you in every phase of the moon. And if you don't have all month, the very least, get in your own energy. Get away from all other beings. And your environment matters too, like your natural environment. So check that. You're the canary in the coal mine, reflectors. We get worried when our reflectors get sick, because they are just picking up everything from their environment.
Yeah. And changing environments and being in the correct environment for a reflector. I mean, it's so important for all of us, because we pick up, no matter who you are, like we can pick up. But it sounds like for the reflectors, like this is a huge, like, look at your environment, who you're around, especially making big decisions. So in your business, if you are starting a business, changing, pivoting, doing a big, bringing on a new product, whatever it is that you're doing, like Kelsey's saying, get away from people, really get in touch with you.
And
If you
that
don't
get
have a
away from
month.
people includes also sleep alone. Not every
Ooh.
night, but if you're trying to make a big decision, unless you've got another reflector next to you, sleep alone, because you're going to pick up their energy in your sleep.
Yeah. And we all know during our sleep with the dream state and the things that come to us, like we hold on a lot to those.
Oh, yeah. During our sleep is when we're sometimes our craziest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I did not know that about the reflectors.
Yeah. So let's move on to projectors.
Got it.
Projectors are here to guide us. And projectors are like a bird sitting on a branch in a forest while the rest of us scurry around on the forest floor. And projectors can see everything. They just, this penetrating energy, they can see it all. So imagine then that there's a squirrel scurrying around the forest floor looking for his nuts. He hid his nuts and he's trying to find them. Now, the projector is watching all of this. And imagine the projector just says, "Yo, squirrel, they're over here." And the squirrel looks up and is like, "Who are you? What do you know? Just mind your own business." That didn't go so well. Now imagine the squirrel is running around and looks up and sees this projector in the tree and says, "Hey, projector, you really seem to be able to see everything. Do you know where I left my nuts?" And the projector's like, "Yeah, squirrel, they're over here." And then the squirrel's like, "Oh man, you are the best. Thank you so much." So projectors have so much wisdom to share with us, but they want to wait until we have the space to receive that wisdom. So they want to create invitations. They want to be invited to share that wisdom. When a projector doesn't have an invitation to share the wisdom, the receiver of the wisdom can't receive it and tends to think the projector's a jerk. And then the projector thinks the other person's a jerk. And the projector will feel bitter. Yeah, it's just like no one's happy in that situation.
Oh. So if someone's a projector in their business, so I'm always going to bring it back to business, like what do you do in that space? Especially like the first thing that comes to mind is like marketing and, you know, trying to get people into your business. Like how do you create those invitations so that people don't think you're a jerk?
So first of all, everybody that follows you has already invited you. So go ahead and tell them all about everything that you've created. You don't need an invitation to create your thing. You just need an invitation before you guide. So if people are following you on social media, if they're subscribed to your email list, wherever you're putting stuff out, if people are following you, if they're there for it, speak, share. If you're in a like one-on-one conversation, how about saying something like, "Can I share an observation with you?" Or "Can I share an idea with you?" And then the person will most likely say yes. But just that question, it's like it allows the recipient to clear the space. Be like, "Oh, some wisdom is about to be applied to my brain. I'm just going to clear out a little area for it, and now there's a spot for it to drop in."
That's a really good way of, I like that you put it into terms, especially like if they're already following you, they've given you permission. They want to hear and they already want to hear the wisdom that you have and the direction.
Yeah.
And then the one-on-one.
There are some people learn just a little bit about human design and they're projectors and they come away saying, "I'm a projector. I have to wait for the invitation. I'm not allowed to do anything." And they think they just need to sit on their couch and do nothing. No. Create. Like do your thing, put your work into the world. And then when you want to guide somebody, then you simply create an invitation for them to ask you.
That's awesome. It makes it a very easy way so that we get out. Again, this is all about getting out of our own way. So we're not using this to stop us from doing things. We're using it so we're out there in the very best way using our gifts.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All right. Manifestors.
Oh,
Let's do manifestors first.
okay.
So manifestors are a really big deal. Manifestors have a really big aura. Like your energy is really big if you're a manifestor, meaning you can't hide. People are going to feel it when you walk into a room. A manifestor is here to own their power. And a manifestor, when they are first born, is the energetic leader of their family because their energy is so big. So the little baby manifestor is often told, shh, like you're too much. You're too big. You're too loud. You're just too whatever. So manifestors typically try and hide themselves. They'll try to play small. Manifestors who are listening, own your power. Please, we need you to own your power because by owning your power, you inspire the rest of us to do the same. So if you're a manifestor owning a business, own your power, which means don't go asking other people for their opinions or permission. You do what you want.
Oh.
And tell people what you're doing. That's not so much like things will still work out for you even if you don't tell people what you're doing. But manifestors are the ones that tend to you're standing having a conversation with them and then they just walk away because they got an urge. They want to go do something. It's just like your friends want to know where you're going. They want to know. They'll be like, "Oh my God, where'd she go?
What happened?" She was here, and then very not scatterbrained, but sparkly.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
I get sparkle syndrome.
So manifesting generators also get this because manifesting generators are hybrids of manifestors and generators.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do generator next, and then we'll save MGs for last.
Perfect.
Generators are here to be sparkly AF. I mean, all beings are, but generators really are here to follow what lights them up. The universe is constantly going to show them things, whether it's a color, a shape, a smell, an idea, a person. And if a generator is going to feel it in their gut, it's either going to be a holy hell yes, and it's going to be a whole body yes. And if that's the response you get, go that way. If you don't get that response, don't go that way. The generators are really just supposed to listen to their guts for everything, which means if anything isn't lighting you up and giving you a holy hell yes, your job is to be brave enough to let go of it.
Yeah. And in the realm of business, sometimes that can be hard.
Yes. All right. So generators, little baby generators they're born knowing they're here to lift up the world.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how. But as little kids, they get praised for doing things they don't want to do. For, going and sharing their favorite toy or hugging Aunt Sally when they don't really want to, or, eating their broccoli. So they start to believe, I love broccoli, by the way. I'm going to stand up for broccoli.
I do too. Broccoli is amazing, especially baked. I love baked broccoli.
Ooh, yes. Anyway. So they get praised for sacrificing themselves. So they think that they're here to sacrifice themselves. But really, if you sacrifice yourself, sure, you might make somebody feel a little better, but energetically, they're not going to feel better. It's just their ego feels a little better. But if you follow what lights you up, then you become so insanely sparkly that your energy is so magnetic and juicy and irresistible that people don't care what you're talking about. They just want that. They just want to be in your energy. And that, generators, is how you elevate the world. So generators in business, stop sacrificing yourself, please. And instead follow what lights you up and elevate the world with your sparkle.
Yes. I feel that one where a lot, and I know a lot of business owners or who want to start a business who they sacrifice for their kids or for their spouses or for someone else because they don't feel like, well, they feel like that's their place.
Mm-hmm. And
Is
let's get it
to
in the nitty-gritty of business ownership. Please, like so many people will schedule a call for a time that they don't want to do it, but they believe that it's more convenient for everyone they think is going to come. Please don't. Schedule the time for when you are going to be your sparkliest.
yeah,
I know we've been so trained against that. Make it convenient for everyone. But no, the people signed up to be with you because they want to be in that juicy energy. So put it at a time when you are going to be juicy. Don't like
yeah.
sacrifice yourself and just because you're on the other side of the world, end up having a call at like 1 a.m. Unless you're a vampire, in which case go for it.
That's awesome. Yes, unless you're a vampire, which I am definitely a night owl.
Are you? I am definitely not a night owl.
Oh man, I try. I try to be a morning person. I'm so not a morning person.
So that might
And
be in your design.
yeah, I would be interested to find out if that is in my design or if it's because I've tried so many times to switch it and I just doesn't matter what I do. Even putting it into my brain priming, like, oh, I love getting up at 6 a.m. and working out. No, I don't.
Some people thrive in the darkness. When it gets dark, I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And when the sun comes up, I get up. Actually, like I usually get up before the sun comes up.
Oh, yeah. But
like if
me.
I'm awake at 10 p.m., I'm not really functional.
Yeah. See, that's where I get my light.
Exactly.
That's where I'm like, oh, and I have this idea and I have that idea. In the morning, it takes me like 2, maybe 3 hours to like fully wake up.
Yeah, I wonder if you have indirect light digestion, which would mean that this is just another piece of the human design puzzle. It would mean that you ideally eat when it's dark out. So like you'd still eat a little bit during the day, but your main meals happen in the dark. And like you're really going to digest life more in the dark.
My family has always said that I am a vampire because I actually am allergic to the sun because I have vitiligo. so that's also why I'm very, very fair because it's all vitiligo.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some spots left, but so I couldn't go out in the sun. I'm allergic to the sun and I'm a night owl. So my family literally makes fun of me because I am a vampire.
Your body's trying to tell you that sunlight is not for you.
Yeah. Although I love it. I love the sunlight, just not early morning sunlight.
It's different. I consider that the most magical sunlight. But for you, it's definitely not.
Yeah. And I'd be interested to see if that is in my design so I can finally just give it up on trying to get up early. Yes. Although, how do you do that when you have to get up early? Like, I got to get the kids up.
So that's where we get into the tricky stuff. Kids are the tricky stuff. Because do you want to sacrifice yourself to help your kids? Probably. Yeah. So we have to find a way where it's a holy hell yes to get yourself up to get your kids up.
Yeah. And I'd be interested to see if my kids are, because I don't know if they just learned it from my husband and I, because my husband's a night owl as well. So I'm like, oh, they just got bad habits from us. But maybe it's in their design too. We don't know. I'm going to have to run their design.
Yes. There's another piece in our design too, which says all the stuff that we hear about circadian rhythms is not, if you have this one gift, it's all about creating, your body has its own natural rhythms and you need to follow those instead of everything that you've been told.
Yeah. And I like going against what I've been told. I I'm like, oh, you say I have to do it? No, no, no,
No,
no.
so you're sounding like a manifesting generator. So let's talk about MGs.
Yes, let's do.
So manifesting generators are hybrids of manifestors and generators, which means we're here to be sparkly AF and to own our power. And we can, as kids, experience the same, like pick up the same messages, which are we need to sacrifice ourselves and we need to play small. So MGs, one of those is probably going to resonate with you a little more than the other. And so you know where to do the work, whether it's on owning your
Yeah.
power or owning your sparkle. It's probably both. All right. So manifesting generators, we are the multi-hyphenates. We bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing. While the world tells us we're supposed to go from A to B to C, MGs, we go like A to petunias, to sea urchins, to red. And that is our natural path. And the reason we take a bouncy, windy path like that is everything is actually, it's all the dots lining up. We learn what we need to learn. We pick up the information we need from each thing. So remember my path, I started as a marine biologist. What does that have to do with being a coach? Actually, biology is all based on curiosity. And what is a coach? I'm just curious because everyone already has the answers within them. And I just ask the questions to bring out their own brilliance. And then I went through this time as like a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. Guess what? That's another unique piece that I bring to my clients is I have a whole lot of knowledge about the physical body and how to move it and take care of it. It's all of these pieces in us, they come forward for us to be fully integrated because MGs are here to do something that has never been done before. We're here to carve our own path, which can feel so hard sometimes because no one has done it before. And we're here to do what other people think is impossible and to do it with so much joy. We are here to follow the joy and play.
Yeah, I don't think I have to look at my I don't have to look at it anymore. That is definitely me. And like when you were saying your path, like you were a scientist and marine biology, like all of that, that was, and I'm still like, I bounce all around and people have always told me, pick one thing, you got to do one thing. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
No.
And it's okay if everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I see it. I see the big vision. That's all that matters.
Exactly. And I actually had recently a friend of mine who's a generator said to me, and Kelsey's a manifesting generator, so she's always changing. And I was like, she's just talking about the last 6 months. And I was like, what? I actually don't see that I'm changing in any way. But I guess like when I say, oh, I'm creating a new YouTube channel, that's changing. I'm like, no, that's just part of the business. And then like, yeah, I'm adding new bonus episodes on my podcast. That's just part of the business. Yeah, I'm going to make some t-shirts. That's just part of the business. Like it's all one. Yeah, I'm starting to talk more about like the physical body and health and nutrition. That's just part of the package.
Yep. That's it's this, I am creating this empire, like this branding where all of the pieces under it is me and my vision for the entire world. Like I want to be a trailblazer. I want to help people. And so this is just so much fun.
Yes.
Seeing this, like I get giddy because it gives us the permission. And that is what I teach my clients as well. Like break the rules, do what you want, be happy. Nobody has to tell you, and we don't have to live like everybody else. This world would be so boring.
No, and which is why MGs actually kind of trigger people a lot because we're doing so many different things because it looks to them like we're changing all the time. We're not. We also flow faster than other types. And so people love to tell us to slow down. Listen, humans, if you feel like you're going too fast for you, then please slow down. But if you don't, if you feel like you're having fun and you're in flow, keep going. People will follow you. Just they need to rest. That's fine. That desire for slowing down is on them. It has nothing to do with you. You stay in your flow.
Yes.
I feel very passionate about that one.
Yes, I do too. I love it. We're allowed to be. And my entire life, that's what they said. You put so much of this on yourself. Yeah, because this is what I love.
Yeah.
It's
this
okay.
is fun.
Yes, this is excitement to me.
Yes.
It may look like crazy, chaotic stuff to you, but it makes me very happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember, we're here to follow, just like generators, we're here to follow what lights us up.
Yep. So anyone watching, like, who do you resonate with? What is your story? What are you here to do? And go and make sure you get your download. Talk to Kelsey. Find out, like, how do you use this to your benefit? And I keep looking up because my camera used to be up there. It's here. So if I'm looking up, I just realized I was doing that.
That's funny. I was on a call with someone the other day who I sent him something to read, and he starts looking like this. I was like, do you have like another screen on your ceiling? Like, what?
Yeah, I got this new camera because it looks better than the one on the computer, but I have always done it from the one on the computer, so I keep looking up. So sorry, people watching me and listening to me babble about. But the point is use this stuff, give yourself a stepping stone to figure out what makes you tick and how to use it in your business. This is such golden stuff because when you figure it out, it will make sense. It will give you the permission to be you. And then you'll have some other ways to, if you're finding things that you don't like or that you want to change that is not resonating with you in your world, in your outside circumstances, you have control.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yes.
It's amazing. So I am so happy that you were here on the show and we got a chance to get to know each other more. They can find you on, we heard YouTube. I'm sure you have Facebook or what do you have there?
I retired from Instagram and Facebook last year. It's been almost a year off of those platforms. But come to my website, kelseyabbott.com. You can connect with me from there. You'll find my email address on there, but it's just easier. The contact form goes directly to me. I'm a real human and I love connecting with people. I'm not off social media because I don't love connecting. I'm off it because it just didn't light me up anymore.
And you're a manifesting generator and you go by your own beats.
Exactly.
I love it. See, and that's okay. She's living proof. Like, you have a very successful business. Mm-hmm. You keep doing your thing and you don't have to be on Facebook or Instagram. Everybody is so different and you got to do what lights you up. And they're going to go on and follow you and download the free human design chart. And then
it's actually not even a download. What happens when you request your chart is I send you an email with your chart and I give you a little nugget of joy.
Oh, well, then go get the email. Go get your human design chart, connect with her, find out what you need to do for your business. And then come back to me and I will help you do what you need. Whatever you are meant to do in this world is exactly where you're supposed to be. And that's the beauty of being in this world. We get to be whatever we're supposed to be, but lift each other up and be here to support each other. And I just love this platform. I love being here. I love getting to connect with such amazing women like yourself. And I know everybody has gotten so much from this. So get the show notes, connect with Kelsey, and I will be connecting because I want a new human design too.
I love this, Jacqueline. This has been so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so glad we were able to connect, and we will continue to connect. I'll follow you on YouTube and I will email you.
Yes.
Easy way to do it.
Absolutely.
All right. So please make sure you connect with us. Come back next week to a new show. And this episode is sponsored by the moon meditations that I do on new and full moon. And at the time of this recording, I am launching the Creative CEO Retreat. It is 2 days on the full moon weekend that you can come get really clear and aligned on what you need, what you're looking to do with your business. Take time to actually work on your business and rest, retreat. It's virtual. Anybody can be there. We're going to do some amazing quantum abundance downloads, give you some frequencies. Like, we've got a wonderful lineup set up for this. So if you want more information, please let me know, and I will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please make sure that you go over to the blog and follow all the links for our guests and get the downloads that we talked about. I would also really love and appreciate if you would share this podcast with your friends and family. And if you wouldn't mind taking just a minute to leave a review, that would mean the world to me. Thank you again so much from the bottom of my heart for listening and staying tuned. Can't wait to see you next week on the show.